All right, let's talk about something that is, without a doubt, one of every driver's worst nightmares. You're just cruising along, everything's normal, and then bam! A set of headlights is suddenly in your lane, coming right for you. In this explainer, we're going to take that moment of pure terror and turn it into clear, confident, life-saving action.
Wow. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It really hammers home how incredibly fast a totally normal drive can flip into a high-stakes crisis. Look, this can happen to anyone at any time, and your survival depends on knowing exactly what to do before it happens.
So to really get a grip on this, we've got to understand why a head-on collision is so uniquely devastating. It's not just another crash. We're talking about raw physics here, and the danger multiplies like crazy.
Yeah, the brutal math is what makes these situations so incredibly dangerous. When two cars hit head-on, it's not about one car's speed. You have to add them together. The kinetic energy is just off the charts compared to other types of crashes, and that's exactly why the results are so often catastrophic.
You might be thinking it's always some reckless driver pulling a crazy move, right? But that's not the whole story. The reasons a car can end up in your lane are actually pretty varied, and, some of them are things you'd never expect. Let's break down the big ones.
First up, a sudden mechanical failure. Imagine a tire just bursting. It creates this violent, immediate pull that can yank a car right across the center line before the driver even knows what's happening. It's a powerful jolt that can catch absolutely anyone off guard.
A car can also get, pushed into your lane. It doesn't take much. A little bump from another car, hitting a big piece of junk on the highway, or even a super deep pothole. Any of those can be enough to knock a car off its path and straight into oncoming traffic.
And this one is just chilling. It's the driver who is physically there, but their mind is somewhere else entirely. Maybe they're on their phone, maybe they're exhausted, or maybe they're just complacent on a road they drive every day. They just drift across that yellow line, totally clueless about the disaster they're about to cause. Oh yeah, we have all seen this one. A driver who totally misjudges the speed and distance of the car coming towards them and just pulls out to pass anyway. It's this complete failure to understand how quickly that gap is closing, and it puts everybody on that road at risk. Okay, so that's the what and the why. But what do you actually do when it's happening to you right now? Well, the good news is, even in that split second of panic, there is a plan. We're going to walk through a really clear, step-by-step playbook that can seriously boost your chances of getting through this.
First, and I know this is the hardest part, you have to try to stay calm. Panic makes you freeze, and you just don't have time for that. At the same time, get your foot off the gas and start braking smoothly. Every single mile per hour you can shave off lessens the potential impact. Then, get their attention. Lay on that horn, flash your high beams, do whatever you can to snap that other driver out of it. And finally, start moving toward the shoulder to create space.
As you're moving over, your eyes need to be scanning for an escape route. You're looking for a shoulder, a ditch, an open field. Listen, anything is better than a head-on collision. Now this is crucial. Avoid yanking the wheel. A sudden swerve can make you lose control, so keep your movements firm but smooth. If a crash is unavoidable, brace yourself and try to angle the car so it's a glancing blow, not a direct hit. And of course, once everything stops and it's safe, call for help.
Okay, so that's the emergency plan. But you know what's a million times better than surviving an emergency? Avoiding it in the first place. So let's flip the script from reacting to danger to actually anticipating it. A huge part of that is just getting way better at judging the speed and distance of the cars coming towards you.
So here are a few pro tips. Big vehicles, like trucks, can mess with your perception. They often look closer than they really are. A huge clue is to watch how fast an oncoming car is growing in your windshield. If it's getting bigger fast, that gap is closing fast. You can also use fixed objects like a signpost or a tree to gauge its speed. And at night, be careful. Yeah, brighter headlights usually mean a car is closer, but dim lights could just be an older car that's way nearer than you think.
Here is a super simple, practical rule of thumb you can use, the 20-second rule. If you're thinking about passing someone, just estimate, will that oncoming car get to you in less than 20 seconds? If the answer is yes, or even a maybe, just don't go. It's a much safer way to operate than just guessing, and it builds in a solid safety buffer.
Now we have to talk about weather, because it changes the entire game. When a road is wet, your stopping distance doesn't just go up a little bit. It can easily double, or even quadruple, 4 times. And on ice, forget about it. We all kind of know this, but most of us don't really adjust our driving enough to make up for that massive loss of grip. Even something we do every single day, like pulling out of a driveway, needs total focus. There's a little safety secret here, and it's that final step. You look left, then you look right, and then you look left again. So why that second look left? Because in the split second it took you to glance right, a car could have appeared out of nowhere. That final check is absolutely critical.
Okay, now this is an area where a lot of people get confused, and hesitation here can be dangerous. Let's quickly clear up the specific rules for special vehicles, because knowing this stuff cold helps you react the right way, right away.
Let's break it down. For a school bus with its red lights flashing, oncoming traffic has to stop. Period. The only exception is if there's a physical median, like a concrete barrier or a grassy strip, dividing the road. Now, for an ambulance with lights and sirens, the rule is different. You need to pull over to the right and stop to clear a path for them. The goal isn't just to stop where you are, it's to get out of the way. And finally, for a funeral procession, it's generally not a legal requirement to stop, but it's a common courtesy, a sign of respect to yield if it's safe.
So you can probably see how all these individual tips and rules are starting to connect, right? They're all pieces of a much bigger, more powerful idea. It's all about shifting your entire way of thinking from just reacting to stuff on the road to becoming a truly defensive driver.
And this is really the most important takeaway. Defensive driving isn't just a list of things to remember. It's a fundamental change in how you think behind the wheel. It means you are always looking for risks, you're constantly managing the space around your car, and you're preparing for danger long before it turns into an emergency. The whole goal is to be proactive, not reactive.
And that really is the heart of it all. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on next time you get in the car. After hearing all this, what is one small, tiny change you could make to your daily driving habits that could have the biggest positive impact on your safety and on the safety of every single person you share the road with?
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.